Welcome back to Oakfield Farm for episode 8 with me, MrSealyp. It's day 4. We're mid-spring, 7:39 in the morning. As you saw, seeding up on field 20. It took I'm not joking, on real time it took me about 2.5 hours. It took a long time. It took me 3 full loads, or was it 4 full loads, in the seeder at just over 10,000 a load, about 10,300, which Gloss Crisps are very kind enough to reimburse me for. That was a direct transfer payment back into my bank account, and I made a tiny little bit overnight with the bees, which is fine. So I've bought it back here. The reason it's now 7:40, it has been pouring with rain. It just did not let up. Absolutely pouring down. So I couldn't do anything at all. I was worried about doing any work on the grass fields. That said, I don't think they're ready to do anything with yet. So I've got a couple of jobs I need to do today. The first is in here, and you've seen from the thumbnail already, we are selling the Massey. That was kind of on the cards anyway, but I'm going to get rid of it, and then we'll sort out a harvester when it's harvest season, even if for the first year we lease, or we find a cheaper alternative. Maybe that might be the way to go. This isn't going to work. I just realised I've come at the wrong angle completely to get the header trailer on there. Let's see if I can spin that around a bit. Okay, so we'll get rid of this first, like that, and I'll back the harvester on. So the trailer sold, the header sold. Bank balance is looking a bit healthier. Didn't actually get to use it. I suppose theoretically I should have just sold this straight off the bat when I started and took over. I should have got rid of it, because I would have made far more money. But 192,000. I've got to repair it first though. How much? £37. Okay then, right, sell. So it cost me money to make money. Unbelievable. Now I'm on 280,000. That's not bad. What did I come to the farm with? 300 and something, didn't I? Done alright there. What I do need to do, I am going to need a square baler, aren't I? Now here are my options again, because I'm going to do square bales. I could do round bales and I could get away with it. A few different people did comment the other day saying stick with the round baler, give it a go. Some people did say no, do square because they'll stay on the floor. This easy to deal with and that kind of thing. I'm thinking of using the TST Quadro Pack V for stacking them. Now that's going to make a big difference to what baler I get. I don't want to spend a huge amount of money, because I can go through with the baler and that on the back, bale and stack, in one pass, or I go baler and then go through with the Quadro Pack V afterwards and stack. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference, just time, and it depends if I want to save money or not. So, bit of a dilemma. I can't remember what I've got installed at the moment either. Let's have a look at baling technology and see what I've got at the moment, because a lot of these balers are quite expensive, I'll be honest with you. These aren't going to be an option for the time being unless I lease, but then it gets expensive leasing. False economy. So the Chrome Big Pack 12080, I know I use it a lot, but there's a reason I use it a lot. It's only 12,000. The Massey Ferguson 524, double the price, does the same job. That's 25, and normally I just lease that for stacking the bales. I could buy one, I guess. I could just bite the bullet and say let's get one I haven't used for a long time, but do I really want to be spending 105,000 on a baler, or 102? They require a lot of horsepower too. 185 horsepower. Yeah, 185 horsepower. Or I can go with one of these, which requires about 50 or 80, isn't it? Oh, 115. Okay, that one's 85. Well, I'm going to give that some more thought. What I'm going to do though, take this back to the farm for the time being. I'm going to whiz up to the Enchanted Forest with the Fent and the Stuart trailer, sling a load of logs into the back of the trailer and up to the wood chipper, because I did say I was going to do that, so I do need to do that. Pretty sure the grass isn't at its cutting point yet. Might have to wait till end of spring and then possibly even, I'm trying to think now, possibly even summer 1 before I can get some grass cut. Now the sun has come out, but it is showing rain for tomorrow as well, so fingers crossed we get a bit of sun. But back to the farm we go, and I'll grab the Fent and the trailer. Up to the enchanted woodland we come. I have the Stuart on the back. It's down here, isn't it? There we go. And along either side of the road here, I just came along with a chainsaw, chopped a load of trees down, cut them into 3s or 4s, I think, and piled them up by the side of the road. So what should happen now, and this is completely in theory, you know, at the end of the day. Now, why I like the Stuart trailer, and I mentioned it when I bought it and didn't show it. If I do that, and I could jump vehicles now, hang on. Look at that animation. How smooth and neat is that? That's brilliant. Love it. Now, just realised there's a bar across the middle, and that could get in the way. So what we'll do is just stop there, and I don't know how well it's going to take these, whether it's going to work properly. I really, really don't know. So this is a fingers crossed kind of moment. What I was hoping was I could drop them in. Okay, well that's one in. Fingers crossed. No, that didn't. Okay, it went in. It went in. Let's get them all straight on, I think. As far as possible, then it gives me the height I need to get over the side of the trailer. Turn the right way and circle. Okay. Now to seat these, it might just be as simple as driving the trailer forwards and then backwards and stopping suddenly, and it'll rush to one end maybe. But I might have cut these slightly too long. But they are going in. Don't know how glitchy it's going to get at the end, but we'll see. I'll do some one way, some the other, just to balance it all out a bit. Unloading's going to be interesting. I think I did this on Golden Days of Farming, but I did much smaller chunks. I didn't do big bits like this. It's kind of the upside and the downside of these trees. Upside, because they're all quite small, quite thin, narrow trees. You don't get anywhere near as much money for each one. Upside, when you chop one up, you can pick up much longer lengths, because obviously they're not as thick in diameter and not as heavy. So it's a trade-off, but to be honest with you, I'd much rather have bigger trees, chop them up into smaller chunks and make more money on them, but, you know, that's just me. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, that's better. Right. Now, what I will do, it's my tractor and I can do what I like with it. I'm going to climb up on the bonnet, onto the roof, and let's have a look. There we go. That's not so bad. They are going in. I'm not going to get a full trailer. How many piles did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the 2 I've done. 9 piles. Not going to be a huge amount of money, but like I said before, it's money. I mean, it seems a bit ridiculous now that I've sold the harvester and I've got more money in the bank anyway, but at the end of the day, it's all money. And as I keep saying, even if it pays for, well, I say even if it pays for seed and fertiliser, that seed cost for doing the potato field was ridiculous. And that did make me wonder, after you've done the first harvest and you've got potatoes, you can use potatoes as seed. So doing potatoes then becomes much better after the first season. But if you put in, because you don't get paid very much for potatoes, so that just for that big field just cost Gloss Crisps about 40 grand to put the seed in the ground. Now, admittedly, when I sell that or give it to them, I'm not going to make a huge amount of money. They just want the potatoes, I guess, because they'll make the money selling crisps. But, you know, it just seems, it's a lot of money to spend. After the first season, when you've got the potatoes stored away somewhere, you can then load up your seeder with potatoes, and it doesn't cost you as much. Right, let's move this forward. You can see a bit better now. That's alright. Whilst it's right in the middle of here now, I can carry on loading. Fantastic. Right, I'm gonna load this up. Again, it's another one of those you don't need to see me fill up an entire trailer with logs. I've done a couple of piles already, and you've seen that. And all that will happen is I will just witter on about stuff, and you don't necessarily want to hear about stuff. Oh, that didn't work so well. Let's push that forward. No. There we go. What? That's better. Right, okay. It's not going to be the largest wood pile you're ever going to see, but that said, I think I've almost filled the trailer. Drop that in there. Let's jump in. Oh well, say filled the trailer. Not really, just because there's a few poking up out the top, it looked like I had. The question now is whether this is going to tip. I don't know. I assume that was a tree stump. Yep, just there. So let's. Nope. That wasn't too bad. Close the cover. Pull this out of the way. Got ourselves a nice little log pile. Stick a few of those through. Okay. Now, I'm assuming now because we're on to another day of spring, they're going to be worth even less now, but doesn't matter, money's money. Still a few. Actually, that doesn't seem too bad. Let's just get for that. $700 and something for 2 bits. Okay. I'll take that back. Nice. Oh, I didn't go as well as hoped. That's right. Now it's the smaller ones that you either don't get anything for or very, very little. Yep, nothing at all. So potentially then a quarter of all of this in this pile I'm not going to get anything for. Well, that just sucks. Right. Now, thinking about wood chippers, I had a bit of a dilemma, and a few comments were left by various different people regarding Field 33A. And it was a concern that I had, I'll be totally honest. because there's no actual entrance, and if you go up to the far end of field 33A, I know that's a made up number, don't go looking for it on your map, you won't find 33A. It's the field to the right hand side of field 33, just above field 30, not 4, 35 is it? Regardless, or was it 32? I don't know, whichever one it was. Hang on a minute. Yeah, above 35 to the right hand side of 33, so I just named it 33A. Because there's no entrance, and at the far end there is a gate, but that gate doesn't open, which is a bit peculiar. But so there were concerns, people saying you might not be able to get a harvester in there because of the hedges, and normally most vehicles, if there are no collisions on a map, you might not say no collisions, but fields, hedges and that kind of stuff, you might get through fine with vehicles, but headers won't go through hedges. So if you've got a header on a trailer or on the harvester, you can't get through. So what were the options available? Well, because it's only a bit of sort of scrub, it's not really a hedge as such, it's very, very low kind of scrub. That's why I thought, well, you can get away with driving through it. If you were just driving through a hedge, it looks a bit dodgy, but because it's just low scrub, you can get away with it. Now, I went up there with the Massey Ferguson before I sold it. With the header on the harvester and the header on the trailer, it went through no problem at all. Well, say through, over that bit of scrub. It wasn't an issue. That said, that is only on the Massey Ferguson Activa with that header on that trailer. That's not to say it's going to work on all harvesters, but I'm hoping, I'm fingers crossed, that's not going to be a problem. Because what I did think I would do was get an actual wood chipper, do a trailer of wood chips and kind of lay a strip of wood chips down on the ground just to give the harvester or the header trailer a little bit of height over that little bit of scrub so it wouldn't get caught, but actually I haven't had to worry. So that was okay. Anyway, just kind of, you know, as people are leaving comments, if you know, generally speaking, I'll respond to those comments to the person, but sometimes if a few people have mentioned it, sometimes it's just worth bringing it up in the video and mention it. I do actually wonder how many people do watch my videos with no sound on. It's an interesting one, because I do get quite a few comments left sometimes asking me questions that I definitely answered in the video. Things that I've talked about, things that I've mentioned when I've used a piece of equipment, and I'll say who the modder is. I'll then get a comment saying, is that a mod? Who's it by? I think, well, I did mention that in the video. I'm baffled how they don't know. The only thing I can think of is that they're watching with the volume down, which is, you know, do what you like. If you don't know my voice, that's fine. Doesn't bother me. But it's just a weird, you know. If you wanted to know, just for that bit, turn the volume up and you might find out. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to chuck the rest of this through and see what we've got at the end of it. I reckon we'll be up about 290,000. Not bad for a little bit of logging, and not a huge amount of logging either. But it works out a lot better doing it this way than if I go around the edge now where I've cleared it all back and cut down a few trees. I've got to then walk backwards and forwards with the logs each time, and this just seemed like a more efficient way of solving the problem. Plus, while I'm doing this, I'm trying to rack my brains as to what job I'm going to do next, because I can't do the soybean yet. I don't think I can do soybean yet. Hang on. No, not yet. Soybean won't be until probably late spring, so day 5 I should be able to do that and not make a mistake with it this time, hopefully. With the timber done, I just got over 290, literally just over 290, 290,297 pounds. I thought I'd go for a wander. I was trying to work out what to do, so I was just going for a walk through the countryside. With 290,000 sitting in the bank, I think I'm going to invest in another field. So one that's an average-ish size, I say average-ish size, is field 42. And let's have a look. 75,000 is, it's 4.7 hectares, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to buy that. So field 42 is now mine. Now it does need ploughing, but I'm not going to do that this season. I did say take it as read that I'm going to plough every field. What I'm going to do with this field though is to try and diversify the crops in this first year. I realised something very, very quickly. I've made a bit of a mistake. I'll say it's a mistake, a bit of a kind of backup just in case. I bought field 3 after doing a contract on it. I bought field 5 after doing a contract on it. Both have wheat in, and both appear still to be growing and have crops in. They haven't gone to their stubble state, so I'm assuming I'm going to get something come through on those. What I then did, of course, was I then put wheat into field 13, so I've now got 3 fields with wheat in, which is quite a lot. Field 34 I've put OSR in, and field 33A over here, this side, I'm going to put soybean in when I get into soybean season. That should be a fair size field. What I haven't got is any sunflower, so I thought I'm going to do some sunflower. I haven't done any barley. Had I thought about it, because what I needed was the straw swaths, I could have done barley in field 13 and had 3 and 5 for wheat, but it just didn't even cross my mind at the time. Obviously there's potato in 20 and 6, but that's for Gloss Crisps. So technically I don't own those, they belong to them. So 42 is going to have sunflower in it, but obviously with that come the ramifications of needing a seeder, which I don't have for doing sunflowers. So under sowing machines, what I'm probably going to do is lease the Vedostat Tempo F8. I could go with something smaller, but field 42's an average-ish size. I don't want to go too small and it take too long. Downside with this seeder is you can't, it won't go onto a ploughed field. The Rapid and the Horse Pronto will direct drill. You don't need to have cultivated. Unfortunately, the Tempo F8 needs to be done onto a cultivated field. So the problem being then, if I then ploughed this to get a slightly higher yield, I'd then have to cultivate it before I could seed it. And seeing as it's already in a cultivated state, that just seems a bit too much, really. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to whiz out here with the fertiliser spreader, the Brune. I'm going to give this a whiz over with the fertiliser spreader to get myself some fertiliser in the ground. Then I'm going to come over with the seeder. Well, so I'm going to come over the seeder. I'm going to lease the seeder. I'm going to fill it up with seed, and I'm going to get over here and get some sunflower in the ground. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So off screen, I'm going to do the fertiliser spreading because you don't need to see that. I'm just trying to work out. I've got myself turned around here. Look at the map at the bottom. Right, follow this track down. It's kind of a track. Down the side of field 41, take me to the main road, along the main road and up towards the farm, which is over there somewhere. Yeah, that's field 13 just there. And the church spire is just there. So yeah, over there somewhere. So I'll head over to get the Bruns, come back, do that. Then I'll get the seeder and you'll see me, hopefully, putting some sunflower in the ground. Actually, before I even do that, let's check something. Oh, I'm saying that. Sunflower, fourth one down. 7 degrees, yes, we're in the sowing season as well, so we're good for sunflowers. Right, I will see you in a little while, once I've done all that. We've got the seeder. I'll enjoy a nice leisurely stroll back. I think I'm down the main road. That's what the map says. I don't want to jump through the hedge in case I end up in front of an oncoming vehicle. Exactly what I mean. So, with field 42 now fertilised, the great team led by Barris over at the machinery store have delivered my Vedostat Tempo F8 seeder. So I can take that over and get some sunflower in the ground. Let's just pick that up. Perfect. Oh, it's set on sunflower already. Lovely. And it takes fertiliser too. That's pretty good. So let's fill this up. It's not a very, very big seeder, and I'm trying to remember now. It's been a while since I've done sunflower. I don't think I've done sunflower on the Valley of the Old Farm yet. I was going to do that on my kind of agroforestry bit, and I haven't really done it. How long this will last, but we'll see. Let's pull this over to this side here. Get the seed in. Yeah, I'm going to be back a couple of times to do this, I think, aren't I? Right, down to field 42. I say down and up. Down into the valley, up the other side to field 42. On my travels there and back with the seeder, I found another grass area. My panic, my initial kind of, because I was new to the map, and you kind of have to look around and you have a look on the actual map. in game, you can't beat having a bit of a whiz round on the ground. And field 40 something, field 43, the top section of field 43 is all grass, and that's actually just next to me, so I'll just show you that on my way up. I'm going to put it in front of the vehicle, and I know I'm not quite sure why I've got front weight on this still. Should have taken it off. If I go along to the entrance to field 43, which is here, here's 43. This whole section here is all grass. Look at it. Look at that. Now, obviously, when I get close to the edge of the field, it will say you don't own this field, but there's a bit of grass there for whatever I decide to use it for. So there are a few bits dotted about that don't technically belong to anybody, and I can get away with. I'll use them. I've got to find my way back to where I'm supposed to be going, which is a turning. Where is it? Just here. And follow the track round up the side of here. And we should be there. Now, I've done my usual MrSealyp thing of really underestimating size of a field. I know it said 4 point something hectares, and actually that's a fair sized field. When I spread this, it's a bit bigger than I thought actually. I think this is only a 6 metre seeder, so this might take me a little while, so there may well be a time lapse coming, who knows, with a nice bit of music just to get you in the mood, or something a bit heavy metal, I don't know. I don't often go heavy metal. Right, it's on sunflower, isn't it? Yes it is. Let's drop that down. The good thing being though, this seed's at a fair old pace. I might set a worker as well at some point, I don't know. But if I can get this done inside of an hour, I won't get any more leasing fees for the seeder, which is pretty good. One minor downside, I say it's not a downside. If you want to do it realistically, it's not. I've got 2 telegraph poles in the field. I wonder what those 2 little grassy patches were, and as I got closer, I realised they've got telegraph poles in them. However, there's no collisions on them, so if you want to, you can just go through them. If you want to be realistic, you're going to go around them. I do like all these little tracks. Again, unless you go around all of the fields, you don't know they're here. We're just coming across the back of 34, which I also own. If you carry on up that track there's a little house just up the top there, which has got a little bit of a grass bit area on it. So, yeah, it's a nice map. I'm really, I know I've said it a lot, but just up there, I think right over there, I think it is. That direction there, centre screen, that's where Sir David has his house. That's just up on there. Lovely map, lovely scenery, lovely countryside. Actually, this is barely using any seed. It's not like it's plummeting, so hopefully we'll get this done on what we've got. It won't cost me any more money. Fingers crossed. Now, what I have done on the last few episodes, and I think you've probably already noticed, I've started a job at the end of one episode and then started the next one with kind of a time lapse of me finishing that job. I don't know if people like that or not, I don't know. It's just kind of the way it's worked out with the jobs I've been doing. I kind of try and work out the time it takes me for a video, for an episode, and I try and do it around the 40-minute mark, sometimes a little bit more. And it just seems to have worked out that way, that wherever I've got to, I've been partway through a job, and especially that potato field, that was just, ridiculous. So I don't realistically, I don't want to end this episode on a time lapse when I started the episode on a time lapse, but we'll see. I'll go to a couple of headlands and we'll see how we go. What should we do is put the cruise control on. That'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it? That's better. Much better. It's funny because Barris, that runs the machinery store, I say it's funny, it is to me, that runs the machinery store, when I did the golden days of farming, he set me a challenge, like a subscriber contract, to provide him with sunflower, and my whole island at one point was pretty much every field with sunflower. I think I had a few with soybean in, but most of it was sunflower. Unfortunately, I didn't provide him with enough as I should have done. I got a great demand and I sold a load. It didn't go too well for Barris, so his farm folded. He lost the contract. I was subcontracted for him, pretty much. And that's probably why he's ended up now over here running a machinery store. So, you know, every cloud. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now, like I say, with the size of this field, I don't know whether or not, since this is my first season, whether I've bitten off more than I can chew. Like I say, I've just sold my harvester, so I'm going to need a harvester in autumn. And just realising how many fields I've now bought and kind of got stuff in, autumn is going to be incredibly busy. But what I want to try and do this year, I didn't do it on the Valley of the Old Farm, but I want to do it this year on this one, is once I've harvested, I want to try and get wheat and barley straight back in the ground, because you can reseed in that season, so I want to try and do that. That way it saves me a part of the job next year in spring. That's kind of the plan, but we'll see how that goes. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm just trying to work out the direction this field is pointing, for which direction a worker might go. Let's try hire a worker. Okay, that's not too bad. That should go. Yeah. Might need to do a second loop round just to give myself a bit of a turning circle. But at least I've got myself an idea of the direction, and it will go that way then there. Actually, that's not too bad. That shouldn't give me too much to do around the outside. So I've given myself a second kind of headland around the outside. That gives any worker a bit of turning room. And let's finish that second route now. This top end of the field will be a little bit trickier because it goes off at an angle one way, but not a problem. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll set a worker from this corner and see. Actually, should I do it from the other end? I don't know, I'm just mumbling to myself at the moment. Right, let's try from this end, and I can worry about tidying up the other end later on. And what I'll do then is set a worker on this, like so. Worker on. Okay, well, we've come to the end of another episode. We are getting sunflower in the ground, and I own another field. Good news. Let's have a look. Without going through the hedge. Fantastic. So, things are moving forward. Like I say, I'm hoping tomorrow doesn't rain too heavily. We might get away with it. We'll see how we go with tomorrow. I need to get grass on the go, so that may end up being summer, and then hopefully in the next day or so I can get soybean up on field 33A, and that would be pretty much all the fields I've got prepared and sowed. There's going to be some either weeding and stuff needing in 3 and 5 when they get to their first growth stage, and all these fields are going to need a bit of extra work to get the maximum fertilising state I can get. But like I said, we are at the end of another episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, please be my guest. Don't forget to hit that bell so you get notifications of when the videos get posted. Whatever you should choose to do, Thanks for watching.